Hello, it is me, I'm back. Today I'm going to be doing a Premier League prediction video. My ball knowledge is not amazing, but I think overall I've done alright on predicting the table. I think this season is going to be one of the hardest seasons to predict so far. I mean, even teams like Fulham have made good recruitment this season. There's a few decisions that I've made which are a bit iffy. I've been a bit torn between choosing like the bottom half of the table. I think overall I've got something I'm sort of relatively happy with. Right, let's not waste any more time. Let's start off with 20th. It's obviously Bournemouth. There's no doubt in my mind choosing Bournemouth as dead last. I mean, as of recording, it is the 29th of July. And they've only signed 2 players so far. Those 2 players being my boy Joe Rotwell from Blackburn and Ryan Fredericks from West Ham on a free. If you're going into the Premier League, you need to have a Premier League standard squad, and Bournemouth just have not done that whatsoever. Ryan Fredericks will no doubt improve that back line, but they still haven't got good defence. They lost Gary Cahill. He was retired at the end of last season. But let's look at some of the positives. Dominic Solanke was one of the top scorers last season. Billing did well as well, and Jefferson Lerma's a great DM. Sadly, I just think it's not enough. It's not a Premier League standard side, so that's why I put them bottom of the league. Choosing 19th place was one of the toughest decisions I've made in this list. It was between around 5 clubs. In 19th place, I put Everton. Now, realistically, I do not think they will be placed 19th. They've got too much passion and they've got so much on the line to stay up in the league. But I just think on paper their pre-season has been absolutely dreadful. They have made a few good signings in Vinagre from Sporting and Tarkowski from Burnley, as well as McNeil from Burnley, but they lost their top scorer Charlison to my team Spurs, so I think they are going to struggle to score goals next season. Right, in 18th place I've put Southampton. I could have easily put them 19th, but they've had a pretty good pre-season, beating Monaco 4-1. Obviously losing Broho is a massive loss, and with Livramento injured for the first 4 months, they are going to struggle. But Adam Armstrong is an amazing talent who could easily fill that gap at striker. They made 2 decent signings in Joe Aribo from Rangers and Mara from Bordeaux, who's a great young talent, but sadly I don't think it'll be enough to keep them up this year. In 17th place I've put Leeds. They finished in 17th place last season, and now they've lost Rafinha, who was the top scorer last season, and Calvin Phillips, their best CDM. On the plus side, they have a full season with Jesse Marsch as manager, and new signings Tyler Adams, Mark Rockers from Bayern Munich, and Sinisterra, who had a great season with Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. They've done well filling in the gaps of Rafinha and Phillips, so I think they will narrowly survive the drop. Right, in 16th place I put Fulham. For once I think Fulham might actually stand a chance of finishing in the lower half of mid-table, but it is Fulham, so don't be surprised if they end up getting relegated. They've signed Kevin Mbabu, Pereira from Man United and Palhinha from Sporting, who's a very solid CDM and is Premier League quality, which is the opposite of what Bournemouth did. They have lost young starlet Fabio Carvalho to Liverpool, but they have more than enough talent to fill the gap. In 15th place, I put Randolph's team, Nottingham Forest. They have had a very busy and, in my opinion, one of the best windows in the league, signing Jesse Lingard on loan, Dean Henderson on loan, Nick Cafe and Awanigi, who had a great last season for Union Berlin. They are yet to replace Jed Spence at right back, but other than that, they have majorly improved their squad in both attack and defence. But in my opinion, they are lacking a creative midfielder to open up pockets of space and get the ball down the pitch, which is something that a newly promoted side needs in order to create chances and score goals. Right, in 14th place, I've put Crystal Palace. For me, this was a tough decision to make. I could have put them higher or lower. Last season, they ended up finishing 12th, but with no new signings as of so far, and losing out on Conor Gallagher, who was instrumental for them last season, and CDM centre-back Kouyaté, I think they will struggle in the aspect of creating chances and overall the creativity in the midfield, which is why I placed them slightly lower than last season. In 13th place, I put Brentford. Similarly to Crystal Palace, they have lost a creative midfielder in Christian Eriksen, but they have improved other areas of the squad massively by signing young Scotsman Aaron Hickey from Bologna and Keane Lewis Potter from Hull, who will look to break into the first team, as well as signing goalkeeper Strakosha and Ben Mee from relegated Burnley. They may follow in the footsteps of Sheffield and Leeds and suffer from second season syndrome, but I think by improving their squad well, they'll remain mid-table in the upcoming season. Ivan Toney also looked improved after a great debut Premier League season. In 16th 16th, 12th place, I've put Newcastle, the richest football club in the world. They've recently signed left-back Matt Targett on a permanent deal, as well as Nick Pope, Sven Botman from French side Lille. They have let go of Dwight Gale, Isaac Hayden and centre-half Clark, but despite that, I think with the quality of Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin up top, as well as a solid defence, they will achieve mid-table. But yet again, they are lacking that creative midfielder, as well as almost every other mid-table team as of so far. But they still have time and a lot of money as well. In 11th place, I put Brighton. They had a great season with Graham Potter finishing 9th, the highest they've ever finished in their history, and they'll look to maintain that this season. Obviously, losing Basuma is a disadvantage as he controlled the Brighton midfield last season by creating good chances, making accurate passes as well. And as of yet, they have not signed a replacement, which is why I slightly lowered them down to 11th. Danny Welbeck scored many great and crucial goals for the goals last season, as well as Trossard, and Mapai was still a toxic prick. The young Ecuadorian Caicedo shined near the end of the season and scored an absolute worldie against Man United, so it'll be interesting to see how he performed this season. Right, in 10th place, I've put Leicester. Seriously, nothing has happened during their transfer window. Nobody's come in, nobody's left, nothing. But that doesn't change the fact that they have an amazing team for next season. James Justin is back from injury. Dewsbury Hill will no doubt have another good season. And both James Maddison and Jamie Vardy are on another level. So I won't be surprised if they finish higher. But for the fans' sake, sign somebody. In 9th place, I put Wolves. It's a questionable one for me. Last season, Wolves finished 10th, whereas Leicester finished 8th. But with the signings Wolves have made, I can't really see them finishing above Leicester, despite Wolves finishing 1 point behind them. Don't get me wrong, Nat Collins and Hwang are great players, but they don't need to improve players in that area. They've already got a strong centre-back partnership of Connor Cody and Max Kilman, with Willy Boly as a backup, and Hwang, it's possibly going to be back up to Jimenez. They could play with two strikers, but with the quality of Daniel Podence and Pedro Neto coming back from injury, as well as doing well in pre-season, I can't see him becoming a regular first-team starter. Right, in 8th place, I put Aston Villa. This is the biggest wildcard of my Prem table predictions. They came 14th last season, but I reckon with a full season with Steven Gerrard as manager, they could finish 8th. The recruitment has been top quality this window, signing Diego Carlos from Sevilla, Kamara from Marseille, and Coutinho on a permanent deal. They are going to pose a real threat next season with a strong squad like that. But I would still like to see players like Jacob Ramsey and Chukwuemeka make appearances here and there because they're quality players, but there are so many other good options in those Cam Ram positions. Finally, I'd just like to say that Villa have had an amazing pre-season so far, winning 3 games and drawing with Man United 2-2. Right, in 6th place, I've put, for the first Europa League spot, I've put Man United. I don't care how many step-overs Sancho has done in pre-season, that doesn't mean you're going to challenge for the top 4. All jokes aside, Man United have had a pretty good pre-season, beating Liverpool 4-0 and Crystal Palace 3-1. And Melbourne 4-1, but no one really cares. So far they've signed short-arse Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, Christian Eriksen as well. They will have a very strong front three next season, with Ronaldo, if he chooses to stay, Rashford and Sancho, who's regaining his form he had at Dortmund. There's no doubt that Fernandes and Eriksen, whose creativity in the midfield, and the fact they've finally signed a good centre-back frightens me. In 5th place for the final Europa League spot, I've put Arsenal. They could easily get a UCL spot, but if Jesus gets injured, they're going to struggle to score goals, even with Nketiah as a backup. As well as Jesus, they've also signed Zinchenko from Man City and Fabio Vieira from Porto, who's a creative young midfielder. In terms of pre-season so far, they've won all their matches apart from a 2-1 loss to Brentford. The team is going to be dangerous next season with a solid defence, creative midfield consisting of Odegaard, Smith-Rowe, and attack that guarantees you goals with Jesus and Saka. Right, in 4th place I've put Chelsea. Okay, I know it's very unlikely that Chelsea are going to finish below Spurs, but I cannot think of a Chelsea player that's going to guarantee you over 15 goals per season apart from Sterling if he's in good form. Apart from the fact that they have no amazing strikers, they have a strong centre-back partnership with Koulibaly and Thiago Silva, which is in my opinion one of the best partnerships in the league. Reece James had the best season of his life, really, last season, and the midfield of Kante, Havertz, Mount and Gallagher is scary. They've had a mixed bag of performances this pre-season. with 2 wins and 2 losses, but they will step up when the league starts, I'm sure. In third place, I've put Spurs. This is 100% team bias, but I am positive that it could happen. We were only 3 points off third last season, and with the signings we made so far, such as Jed Spence, Richarlison, Perisic, Basuma and Longley, I think we pose a real threat to the top 4. With the front 4 of Richarlison, Song, Kane and Kulusevski, we will no doubt score goals, but I do feel that we are lacking like a creative midfielder, that we're still yet to replace Eriksen sort of thing, and instead we're like stocking up on defensive-minded midfielders. But other than that, we have a dangerous team. In pre-season so far, we won 2 games and drawn 1 against Sevilla, and actually won a trophy for once, which is exciting. Right, in second place, runners-up, I've put Liverpool. You can probably guess who I put first, but let's talk about Liverpool for a second. The 2 major signings they've made so far are Fabio Carvalho from Fulham and Darwin Núñez from Benfica. I rate both of them highly, and I do wonder, with the signing of Núñez, whether that means like Firmino is going to be out of the picture, and whether that means they're going to sell him or keep him as a backup to Núñez. In terms of pre-season, like Chelsea, they've had a mixed bag, with 2 wins over both Leipzig and Crystal Palace, and 2 losses over Man United and Salzburg. They have one of the best squads in the league, no doubt, but I do worry with the departures of Mane, Minamino and Origi, that if one of either Salah or Diaz gets injured, they are going to struggle to fill that gap on the wing, which would be devastating for the title race. But if nobody gets injured, they will be able to put up a good fight for the title. In first place, the winners of the 2022-2023 Premier League season, in my opinion obviously, are Manchester City. With a squad like that and world-class backups that would start for any other team, you can't not think that they'll finish anywhere else. You can't think that they'll finish anywhere else. Sterling has left, but that means that Grealish will probably get to start a full season alongside Haaland and Mahrez. The midfield of Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne and Rodri is unbelievable, with Calvin Phillips as backup. And the defence of Walker, Joao Cancelo, Diaz, Stones or Ake is almost unbreakable. They've only played 2 games so far this season, pre-season, and won both of them. They are no doubt the strongest team in the league in terms of squad depth, which is why I've ranked them first this season. So that is for me for today. If I've made any decisions that you feel are stupidly wrong, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.